Hello. Hi.
Hello, evening,
Doctor,
Doctor.
Hi, evening.
afternoon.
Is everybody here already? So yeah. Okay. I'm sorry today because my laptop died off like really dead. So I'm using my daughter's laptop. So I'm trying to figure out some of the function in her laptop and and where to press and all that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay. I'm just sharing my screen, but somehow there is no the wait you hold on let me unshare first. Stop sharing. Is there any other way of sharing? So weird this one. Okay, let me get the notes first. Wait Hmm. Procurement. Okay, all right. Let me try to reshare the screen again. Click share to share the content in this meeting. What do you want to share? Optimize your text. Why is it like that? Let me see. Mhm. Okay, I think it has to be the entire screen. I don't know. Let me try. Still the same. Okay. What's this? Okay, you all can see the screen, right?
Yes, Doctor.
Yeah, doctor.
Okay. Okay. So this one, the screen you can see, the like
Yeah,
got words one, okay,
yeah, can
All
see,
right.
doctor.
Procurement management. Okay, can. We will just have to make do with this. I am not sure what is going on as well. Normally, when I share screen, there is some functions on the side that I can actually look at, you see. So, but then now I don't, you see. So I'm not sure whether I'm actually sharing or not. Okay, all right. So I think the recording is on already. Let me check, Yeah, it is recording. Okay. Right. Okay. So this is going to be my last class with you guys. The rest of the class will be taken by Dr. Lee. towards the end of the semester, which is going to be the last 2 weeks, I think, of the semesters. Okay, and she'll be covering the last 4 classes with you for project management. So today, I think we really better sort out most of the things that I am actually going through. That is my part that I've gone through with you. So essentially, I've gone through procurement. I've gone through scope management. I've gone through the very, very beginning part of project management, all the basic, just a very quick overview about what project management is and what project lifecycle is. And from the project life cycles, I was trying to, use project lifecycle to show you guys about the scope management at different stages of the project life cycle. When we develop the scope, there is a lot of differences. I mean, there's different things that we do basically at different stages of the project life cycle when we're trying to develop the scope of work until we come to the WBS, work breakdown structure. Okay, and then after that, Dr. Lee came in and she talked to you about there's a lot of different techniques There's a lot of different techniques about scope management, whereby you, in the beginning, when you start to develop the scope, from needs and demands, all the way down to conceptual, and then there are project robustness studies, option studies, project charter, from project charter to project scope statement, from scope statement, whereby you develop the project components, it's like the product components and subcomponents. Then after that, we move in and use that to look into project robustness and option studies and how to develop the different components. And then your scope is basically confirmed, and then when that is confirmed, you also do your feasibility studies, whether it's technically viable, economically, and socially, legally, culturally, everything, that is the project will bring more benefit than cost. Okay, and the cost is it means the value of the project basically, that the project is actually answering the solution while not while not creating too much of cost. Cost is not only about dollars and cents. There's a lot of other aspects as well. Okay, then that is what we talk about. Then we went down to talk about work breakdown structure. This is first we talk about the product, the product components, and the scope itself. What is the scope itself? And then we talk about the scope of works. The scope of works is the work breakdown structure. The key word here is work, WORK. You see, the activity. To finish the activity, break it down to smaller components so that you can actually do those activities, to complete those activities before you complete the components and subcomponents and components, and then finally the whole project is being delivered. So that one is scope management. Then from WBS, we develop into resources management. From resources management, we develop into time management, whereby you do your calculation on productivity. I mean, like you get your productivity rate and then calculate your duration. From your duration, you do your sequencing, and then from the sequencing, you were talking. Then you move on to talk about CPM, developing the Gantt chart, and then and went through Microsoft project. And from Microsoft project, we continue to talk about so from Microsoft project, we continue to talk about CPM and then rearrangement of resources and all that. So resources leveling, resources smoothing. And that one, why do we learn all these things? Because as we move on, these techniques is available. They are all interlinked. They're all interconnected, because once you've got your resources all cleared, like what is the resources that you are going to be using, okay, and then you've got your Gantt chart, okay. So from your Gantt chart and your resources, you can use that and do your detailed costing. And then we move on to costing. When I see you during the physical week, we talk about costing. That was under my part. So in cost management, we talk about 2 parts here, pre-commitment and post-commitment. Okay, and pre-commitment, you all can hear me okay, huh? Because I'm not sure about this laptop punya sound how good is it? Am I clear? Am I too soft? I'm okay, right?
Yeah, clear.
Clear, huh? Okay, good. So
Very clear, doctor.
okay, good. Right, because I'm putting the laptop very close to me as well in case, yeah. So yeah. Then after that, we were also moving on, and in that sessions, we really talk about techniques, pre-commitment techniques, whereby at different stages of project life cycle, you use different tools, in terms of costing, in terms of estimation. So we went through expert opinion, parametric estimates. We went through analogy, order of magnitude to parametric. From parametric, we went to definitive estimates, conducting definitive rates, or up rate, and then finally the detailed cost breakdown. And that one is part of your project that you have to finish. Okay. Then the afternoon, I've posted some recording on procurement management, and this is what we're going to finish today on procurement management. Yeah, so essentially this is what the flow so far, and most of this flow is taken by myself. So later on, Dr. Lee will give you tips for exams as well. But I will just quickly go through with you what I'm going to be expecting you to know for exams. Okay, essentially, there will be 4 questions on the exams. Okay, and one of the question, for my part, question number 1, it will be focusing on scope management. Okay, it will be focusing on different components of the feasibility studies and how does that contribute to confirmation of the scope. And then there will be a questions on project environment scan. How from the project environment scan, from different parts of the project environment scan, you must learn how to draw that project environment scan to determine all the issues and all the environment, the EIA part of the project, for you to be able to convert that, the information you will need that to actually do your scope planning. So from environment scan, you need to know what are the steps and what are the procedures from the environment scan. Okay, whether it's through in issue analysis or EIA's project environmental impact assessment study. Okay, that one, the information, how do you convert that into information that you will be using to conduct your first your project charter, from your project charter down to your scope planning, okay, and coming up with your scope statement. Okay, so these procedures, you have to be very clear. So it's like, first you must know how to do the project environment scan, and then from the project environment scan, how to use the information there, and then to project into your project scope planning. So you must have your own project. Let's say you must know how, like when you write the answer, what I'm expecting you to do to write is you must give me a project background. From the project background, a simple project background, what is the project all about? Is it a bridge? Is it like a new product? Or is it a car, or is it a turbine or whatever? So that new project, then the project itself, what is the project environment scan? You must learn, there will be marks given to the project environment scan, and from the project environment scan, what part of the information you need to actually do your project charter, and what is it about project charter, what is it about scope planning, what is the output from scope planning, you see. So what are things that you do during scope planning? Yeah, so this is the gist that you need to write, okay, to score the exam marks. And then after that, you need to talk about, learn how to talk about feasibility studies and what are different components of the feasibility studies that will actually affect your scope, whether it's a go ahead or not. Okay, so there will be part A, part B. It's all on scope management now. Dr. Lee will also brief you, because this is my question, so I just see more point for me to actually talk to you about it now today, just in case she will not really go into a lot of detail, because no matter what, she didn't teach those topics. So she may have some issues, trying to brief you on what exactly I want, as the marker. So yeah, so this is why I'm talking to you about it now. And this lecture will be recorded as well, so I'll put up the recording. So if you're not sure, later on go back and refer to it again. Okay, and then there will be question number 4, which is from me, and that is about procurement management. Okay, so procurement management, I expect you to assess again, because you're doing masters. This is not as simple as just that, benefit, and what are the benefit and what are the advantages and disadvantages of different procurement method or tendering method or contracting type. You see, it's not that simple. You can write like that and you can't score. Okay, you just pass, but you can't score. But you must refer to your own selection of your project. Let's say if you have this project with this sort of characteristic, and then from this characteristic, your project team decided to use which method. You compare two different methods and then feel like this method is more suited to your project environment or your project characteristic. Remember, always go back to your project environment scan, whereby the central bit of things is actually the project itself. It's about the resources of the project. It's about the funding, the capital, the actual core of the project itself. Like, do you have the technical people to help you? And where is the location? Where is the geographical location? And where is site accessibility? What is the project characteristic, basically? And then the second one is the localized factors, like the authorities, like like the regulations, the authorities, regulations, the actual external environment. And then the final one is a global and national impact. So all these things has an impact, like what your project is in has an impact on your procurement method selection. Actually, procurement management is all about selection of method. I will finish up procurement with you today, but you will realize that it is all about selection of methods. Okay, because each stage there is different methods that you need to select. You see, so you must know what your project is like and what this method can give. So which method is a better method for your project? And that is decision making from the procurement team. Okay, procurement, and there's another question that I share with Dr. Lee, is the cost question. So for my part, is really to produce the cost, like, a project that you need to do your costing, okay, and how you do your costing, how you do your detailed costing. And from your detailed costing, that will be your pre-commitment. So that will be your, but your costing estimates is your pre-commitment. So once that budget is being confirmed, that would be the capital for your project. And that project capital will be inputted into the second part of the question, whereby you need to calculate the cost and benefit. So I think after this lecture, the first lecture Dr. Lee will give you will be on project evaluation, whereby you're actually comparing two methods. It's about engineering economics. So net present value, cost benefit ratio, all these different calculation methods that you need in order to compare one option with the other option. You see, so the question is actually like joined together. Okay, like one part of the question is my question, and then you need to use the answer for that one part of the question for the next part of the question to evaluate the project. Okay, so something like that. Okay, so you can ask Dr. Lee more because she will have the paper with her. At the moment, I have seen the paper, but I was more focusing on coming up with the question for my part. So I didn't really actually go and look at her questions very carefully. So let her brief you on her parts and let her brief you on the overall as well. She will always do that at the last class. Okay, so you must attend the last class, or the last two classes is very important. You have to attend. She will talk about it in one of the class. So I'm not sure which one. It depends on her mood, I would suppose. Okay, So don't miss it if you're sitting for exams, okay? Right, so today, and any question, like this is about exam, so I'm giving you some exam tips already right away, because like I said, today is my last class with you see, so I just want to talk about this before, we take off. Yeah. Later on, I will spend some time, I will be here until you all leave. If you need to show me your assignment, your project, and your assignment, you can do so. Okay. Have you started on your project? I hope you have. If you have not, then you only have less than 1 month to go, because I think you need to submit it in by the January. My part, I think I can give it to you up to I think it's the 5th or 4th or something like that. It just can be before your exam, can be after your exams, but after exam it must be right away on the Monday. So I would think that will be the 5th of January, the latest, that you need to submit your assignment, your project to me. Okay. I would prefer not to be so late, because they, I've got students who completely misunderstood the questions, and they do it in such a weird way that I really cannot even give marks. So end up, I have to send it back to them and ask them to redo in like one night or something like that. So it can be a very serious consequence if it does turn out to be very late, you see. We need to submit the marks 5th, 6th, 7th, 7, we need to submit the marks already, and 8th is the marks meeting already. So if you hand it in to me on the 5th, it can be quite serious, if let's say the assignment does not meet the requirement and I need you to redo it. So it's better if you can give it to me, say on the 2nd, maybe. That would be nice, before the exams. That I take and I quickly glance through it. If there's an issue, I can let you know right away, and then you can resubmit to me by Monday. So I would say the deadline will be on the 5th of January, but all of you, please try to submit it early, okay? Like second will be nice, okay? So I think first, you all are having a holiday. 31st, some people are on leave. I know it's time for family, it's a new year and all that, but unfortunately, that is the way it is. You are actually doing a master's degree, you are actually studying, and this is only 1 year, it's not going to be for the rest of your life. So maybe make some sacrifices and finish it up by 1st of January, and then or by 2nd of January, just submit in to me, or 3rd of January before your exams or after your exams, after your first 2 papers, go home, work on it and then submit back to me. I don't know, you arrange your own time. But like I say, on my part, is if I receive it too late, there will be issues of marking later on. And if it end up to be wrong, completely wrong, like you're not answering the questions. Last year, for my MAN classes, my Masters of Engineering classes, I've got 3 groups that completely used the wrong assignment brief. I do not know how. I think they just picked it up from the senior, and then they got the questions from the senior, and they didn't even bother downloading from ELIP, the actual question. And then they just copy everything from the past senior and then chuck it into me, and it did not even fit the question. The answer doesn't even fit the question. So they have to redo everything like in overnight, like, overnight, literally overnight. Like I can only give them 24 hours. Okay. So this is the kind of consequences that we may have, you see. So I really want you all to be buka your mata besar-besar, go to ELIP, download the assignment, look at the assignment, because the assignment is slightly different from the past year one. So it's not the same, okay? Especially the LCC part. And LCC, if you do not listen to the recording, I don't think you know how to do LCC. So listening back to the recording is very important. I am giving you guys a lot of recording is because I feel like, forcing you to sit down here and listen to the classes, okay? It can be tough, and some of you over the weekend, you got to work and all that kind of thing. So I give you pre-recorded classes so that you can listen over the week, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, one day, 10 minutes, like listening over time, and then you can absorb the information. This is what I'm hoping for. But I do not wish that
I put on pre-recorded and you don't even bother listening to it, and then just, before exam, I just, based on the exam tips, read through the notes and that's it, and then because a lot of things in the notes is something that I explain, yes, but I actually explain it more in class, you see. So please go through the pre-recorded. Last week I put up pre-recorded because we've gone through the pre-commitment stage, and there's a post-commitment stage on S-curve and EV technique. So this one you need to learn from the pre-recorded lecture. There was a 15 minutes pre-recorded lecture to finish up the physical class. And then the afternoon class, I posted the overview of procurement management. What is procurement management all about? And then I also post class notes, the pre-recorded on procurement strategies, you see. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to wrap it up today. I will also still continue to talk about it a little bit more today, and hopefully everybody go back to the pre-recorded. Because what we're going to go through today, especially for the overview and procurement strategy, is going to be very, very fast, very, very brief, I'm not going to spend too much time on that, okay, because I've already given you pre-recorded. Why should I be spending more time on it? But it is good just to touch on it and give you an overview lah, just in case lah, just in case that pre-recorded you didn't fully understand what I'm trying to say, you see. Okay. Okay, so let's get on, okay. All right. So procurement is about, the whole management, framework, method, systems, in order to deliver the project. So if I were to put it very bluntly, it's about acquiring, it's about delivering the project. It's about strategy to deliver the project. When we talk about scope management, it's about strategy to come up with the scope. But here is about strategy to make it into construction. You will move on to how do you move the project from just an idea now on paper, okay, on drawings, okay, on drawings, final drawings, or on paper or concept. How do we move it into construction stage and complete that construction stage and then finally deliver the product? That is the gist of procurement management, okay? So it's all those methods and systems. It's all about the system of selecting the methods. It's about the whole framework of delivering the project, okay? Or acquiring. It's just like me talking to you and say that I need a new laptop because my laptop just completely died, okay? So I need to go out and I need a laptop. The scope here is I need a laptop. I've already confirmed that I need a new laptop, okay? Then how do I get that new laptop? How do I acquire that new laptop? Okay, so I must find what exactly in the laptop that I want, okay? And that one is part of scope management as well, the components and subcomponents and everything, okay? Now, as I am going to go out and get a laptop, okay? Now, it's not as I go out, what are the method of procuring this laptop? I could do it online, okay? I could do it through the brand punya platform, or I can go to Shopee, okay? Or I can walk out to, one of the shopping complex and look for what PC Image or Sapa, to buy a laptop, correct or not? So these are procurement strategies. So when I'm there, I need to know after I've selected, like let's say I shop in a complex and I've got different shops. So procurement strategies actually confirm, okay, now I'm going to go to the shop and buy. So when I go to the shop and buy, I need to shop in different shops. I will go and look at different shops, okay? And in different shops, they will offer me different things. They may offer me discount, they may offer me this, they may offer this. This is like tendering strategy. You know, you are going to pick which is the best supplier in that sense, you know. So, or the service provider or the contractor. Okay. Then of course, when I complete that, I need to pay, you know, with my credit card, or am I going to, you know, pay with cash, or am I going to online transfer? So each of these have this different contractual model. So from this contractual model, or I can do terms, like I can pay like 12 months or 6 months, you know, with different banks, or I can use my credit card, pay full, you know, something like that. Or I can sign a contract with the shop itself and say that I'll pay you like 6 months, you know, like just transfer cash to you, but every 6 months, for example. So you see, these are contractual model. And then after that, I bring my laptop home. I've completed my procurement strategy, essentially. And that will move on to me using the laptop and dealing with like contract administration. So I pay and bring it home. This is like an award stage, you know, I award the project to you see. So, you know, like to put it very simply, there's a lot of selection, a lot of choices here that you need to go through lah, in that sense lah. So I think we have basically went through this was the thing that I was holding on to most of the time when I talk about procurement strategy, because it's about the requirement cycle, okay, requisition cycle, and a solicitation cycle, award cycle, and contractual cycle. So for contractual cycle is all the things that happen after the project goes into delivery, you know, into construction. And this one here, we will talk about we are not covering contractual cycle here, because essentially from the contract that you sign with your service provider or your contractor, or you are a contractor with your client, or you are a service provider with your client or employer, you sign a contract. Okay, so after you sign a contract, okay, there's terms and conditions that you need to follow. Okay, and in Malaysia, especially in engineering, we have a lot of standard form of contract. And the standard form of contract is like already a pre-made terms and agreement that has been like a free size t-shirt, free size for all t-shirt that is always there that you can use, such as CIDB form of contract, such as PAM form of contract, such as IEM form of contract, PAM, IEM, you know, all the authorities that PWD, like from JKR, you know, and or you can use FIDIC form, or you can have a specific contract that is drafted out, you know, by different company for their own usage, like SEB. If those of you working for SEB, you will see a lot of SEB based contract, and that SEB contract is actually done by the SEB people for their own project. So, and if you work for KL, Putrajaya, they have their own contractual model, you know, and all that. So it's about handling those contractual terms and conditions. And we will cover that in legislative and contract management. So those of you who have done legislative issues and contract management, essentially you have already learned how to do, you know, form a contract, which is based on the Contract Act of Malaysia, to make it a valid contract. And then my part, I've also covered with you different terms that is related to time, money, and cost and finance, and also quality and others. So, and then we also cover like dispute requirement, like how to solve disputes and all that, CIPA, you know, and these are the typical things that happens in these are typical terms and conditions that you will see in most contract. So generally, we are covering those issues, you know, in the contract. So it's about how to manage and how to administer those issues. Of course, the more accurate one is to have a specific contract, and we talk about that specific contract one by one. But unfortunately, you all are from different areas, you know, so from different professionals as well. So your area could be M&E, your area could be EE, your area could be also construction, you know, energy, science, you know. So you may have different type of contracts. So we would not actually have, I would not actually come up with a contract and say, okay, now let's learn about this contract, because there's no one contract that can apply to all engineering field, you see. So basically, we only talk about the typical issues that every contract should cover, such as time, payment, you know, and extension of time, delays, losses, expenses, you know, and et cetera, et cetera. So this is what we are actually covering in legislative issues and also contract management. And so those of you who hasn't sat for it yet, you will see me again next semester, and you see a lot of me next semester because I'll be taking you for that contract management class. And those of you who has already gone through that, I think you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, so I hope you have learned something from those classes. So this is actually dealing with this part here, the award, the contractual cycle, okay? And then what we are covering in procurement, actually all of this is actually procurement, but then here, all until the project is being delivered, the contract is, you know, retired, meaning the contract is ended. So this, the whole starting project approved to procure to the contract and ending, this is what we call procurement cycle. So we have a pre-award, award phase, and post-award phase. So this one here is the whole process. This is the whole framework. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is the framework itself. Okay, and within each framework, there are different methods. Okay, there are different methods, there are different strategies, there's different type of things that you need to cover. I mean, like there's different type of components. I mean, under each component, under each cycle, there are different areas. Okay, so under each area, there are different methods, you know, type of methods that you need to cover. And then procurement is about learning this system. I mean, learning this framework, and then learning a different method and create a system. So you need to learn how to create a system for your project. So meaning from the requirement cycle, you pick what, and then from the requisition cycle, you pick what, from a solicitation cycle, you pick what, you see. So each of this cycle, you are picking up different methods for you to combine them and make it into a system. And that system itself, you know, is what you learn from this framework. So it has to fulfill this framework. So from this system, okay, you can answer the you can actually answer the final procurement strategies, the final procurement method, or the procurement system. So this is like a final procurement system for your project to deliver the project. And this has to be done early on at the stage of before the award stage. And usually is after the project has been, the scope has been confirmed. Okay, so it will all start when the scope is confirmed. So usually it will be at the stage whereby design is finalized already. So when you have your design completely finalized, and then because when the design is finalized is when you know the project requirement. Okay, so within that, you will know, you will move into your requirement cycle. You will know your cost. Okay, you will know your cost. You will know what are the time needed. You will know what are the elements, what are the parts, what are the activities required in order for you to complete the product. Okay, to deliver the product, you need to know what are the activities. So you've already done the requirements. I mean, the scope management is already what we call completely all the way final design, WBS already. Okay, and the work breakdown is already there. So the requirement cycles you need to know. Again, this one here, we can base it on the project environment scan. So that diagram that I show you, for me, I'm applying it to every single section of my lecture. Okay, I apply it to procurement, apply it to costing, I've applied to scope management. Okay, and so if you just imagine in the requirement cycle, you are essentially looking at the core of the project. It means that you are, you know what are the cost estimates, the definitive estimates is there already. We're talking about definitive estimates because we haven't confirmed on who is the contractor yet. So at this stage, we know what are the definitive estimates, we know the design, we know the components, we know what is to be built and what is to be delivered. And then we also know what kind of work that is required. Are we needing drainage work? Are we needing piling work? Are we needing like tile work? Are we needing like ceiling work? Are we needing architectural work? Do we need to buy doors, and windows and all that? So you see, the whole requirement cycle from the center core is spreading upwards to the project itself. I mean, it's from the project itself. So these are the detail that is required at the core center. We call it the project core. So then you will know whether who is a designer. And now at this center core, you are going to be selecting a contractor or a service provider or a builder for them to carry out, to deliver the project itself. Okay, so this is one of the elements within this, but we need to know what are the other elements within that project core, that for you to confirm on what is the best system, from this framework. Okay, what is the best systems? So from this core, okay, I've got like, do I have in-house technical people? What is my project constraint? Do I have any money constraints? Do I have any time constraints? Do I have any site locality constraints? Do I have any legal requirement or any authority requirement that is very specific to the project itself? Okay, and do I have any legal issues? Is there any social economic issue? I think now with the popularity rising for using ESG for any engineering work, especially construction, with the rising ESG, the G bit, we are talking about social governance, yeah, and we are also the S bit here. We're also talking about the benefit that actually brings long term to the people, okay, and to the economy and to the social community and to a specific social group of people and all that. So you see, with ESG, it's actually forcing you to look at your procurement method as well, in that sense, for you to be able to fulfill what we call the sustainability requirement, because we want our project, because every single engineering project involves a lot of money, involves a lot of resources, and it's actually to do good for the people, you see, and to be used by human being and do good for the economy, the social, and all that, you see. So it needs to be long run. We don't want an investment that we put on, and then 5 years later everything was start and then you throw it in the bin, or like you put it like a white elephant and that is wasting a piece of land. The whole building or the whole facilities is not being used at all, or it has continuous keep on having operational breakdown, like electricity tripping, like 3 times a day or 5 times a day, and then you're actually building a hospital, and then in the end you cannot use that hospital. So it doesn't fulfill up that sustainability part of things. And in order to fulfill sustainability part, you are using ESG as a guideline, you see. So part of ESG as a guideline is a social bit, and this is the part that I'm trying to get at also, is that we need to look at the social economic when we're doing the project environment scan, correct or not? So when we're doing the project environment scan, okay, like these are the factors that you need to consider, you see. And then, so then once you know your requirement, what exactly is your project all about? Okay, so we are going to select what we call the procurement strategies. And this is what we call requisition initiated. Okay, so when we call requisition initiated, we are looking at what kind of procurement strategies. And that actually brings us to the first part 2 of the notes, which is on the different type of procurement strategies. So actually, procurement strategy is about arranging people, arranging all the party and all the stakeholder in a specific mode of team and working counterparts, you see. So it will form the legal relationship between the person initiating, the client or the employer, with the delivering party. Okay, like for example, it could be a service provider, it could be a supplier, it could be a it could be a contractor, it could be a builder. So essentially engineering, we have a party delivering all your activities and delivering the final product, doing all the activities and delivering the product, and the and the first-hand person, the first guy who actually initiated, and they are the paymasters. They could be the paymaster, they may not be the paymaster. It's just like your kid orders something, but you pay for it. It's just like in the end, the person who eats it is your kid. So the boss is actually your kid, that kind of concept, So again, like I said, the user can be different with the paymasters. Okay. But they are all your client now. They are all the people who are actually at the receiving end of the product. So you have a client body that that has an organization need, to fulfill. And then you have a body who will actually another party who will actually deliver. So this relationship here needs to be strategized in a way. You see, different procurement strategies will give you different relationship. Okay. I don't know how to put it, in real life, but I mean, like if you're using a living life example, I can't think of one now. But it's just like, um, um, you know, it's just like, I suppose, it's like two parties here. You want to get into a relationship, okay, and we're talking about a formal uh, relationship that deals with a lot of money. Okay, you need to put them in the right place, you see, and they need to know their responsibilities and their roles and what they need to do, you see. And this mode here, okay, this mode here of different strategies, okay, will actually constitute people behaving differently, okay. So it's just like, maybe if you want to find yourself a life partner, let's say a guy want to find himself a wife, so you say that I need, my strategy, I want to have a wife who actually stay at home and, look after the home, so then basically you need to go and find a strategies that can actually get you a wife that is like that, you see. So then when you have that, it is like that mode is already set, you see. So then when you go into this marriage contract, you all know how to behave. One guy, I'm actually bringing in the money, you have to actually, do the household chores, etc., cook, and look after the kids and all that. So I guess that could be like one way of putting it. But but it's really like, whatever, you get it right in the beginning, you see. So you get that relationship right in the beginning, you get all your terms and conditions right in the beginning. I mean, we're not really talking about contract yet, we're not forming a contract yet, but procurement strategies is about putting these people in a specific way, a specific relationship, okay, like this, so in a specific relationship, when you form the contract, if you use traditional method traditional method is a very straightforward. Client will have a contract with the contractor, and then they will have a separate consultancy contract with the consultant, and then in the consultancy contract they will specify any supervision work or not, you see. So this three party here, they are essentially working in this particular relationship, whereby uh, there is a direct relationship between the client with the two parties. And the party that is the designer and the builder or the service provider, they actually have a relationship too, but it's actually a very it's a lighter, it's a dotted line relationship. You didn't sign a contract with that particular person, you see. I mean, like service provider and contractor, you don't sign a contract with, I mean, sorry, with a designer, you don't sign a contract with one another, but there is a relationship, because that relationship is formed through the contractual relationship with the client, you see. So it becomes like a triangle, but there are, if you say legally, that dotted line between the client, between the contractor and the designer, they are a lot lighter compared to the lines between them with the client, okay. And but that relationship is actually defined in both of the contract with the client, you see. So that forms that who is in order. Who, I mean, it provides that strong linkage. And when you do that, by doing that linkaging between that parties in a contract, it will form the behavior of these people, you see. Like, I will get my order from the designer. As a contractor, I'll get my order from the designer because I know he is being given the authority or power by the client, you see. So this is what we call traditional general contracting. And I need to do whatever he says because he has the power from the client. And I need to do what the client says because this is what is ordered from the client, you see. And then the client has some rights, has rights to order the consultant to do certain things for the contractor, for example. So again, it forms that relationship. So I would say procurement strategies, if I were to put it, it actually is about forming that relationship, forming that accountability, governance. Okay, governance, like who is in charge, who has the right to say what, you see, who has the right to govern the project, you see, and what is the other party supposed to react, in that way. It's supposed to, acknowledge it, listen to it, execute it. So it talks about that responsibilities, role, responsibilities, accountability, and governance. So procurement strategies is so much about governance. It's about governing, the whole relationship here. Okay, and how they will actually interact. It's about the interaction with one another later on. So TGC, traditional general contracting, is really like what I said just now, very straightforward. And then we have some non-traditional. In fact, some of these non-traditional strategies are already very traditional. They are considered as very traditional nowadays because you do hear a lot of that, a lot of projects being executed with a non-TGC TGC method. TGC is traditional general contracting. Okay, so design and build, design with turnkey, design and build. These are all quite common, type of procurement method already. And then some of it is that you have that relationship, but you also have another external relationship with a firm, with a construction management firm, because the client do not have their own people to manage the project. So they actually engage not only the designer, but also another firm to manage the project. So you have a project management kind of model as well. So these are actually already quite, this model like turnkey, design and build, and construction management, they're considered as very, very common method now, that in fact some books and some literature and some authors and some academicians, they will call it traditional as well. They will put it together with design TGC already, actually. Okay, the more non-TGC bit, there are build concessional model, like build on operate transfer, build on transfer. This sort of model, we call it concessional method. Concessional method, usually we have the contractor doing the job, but also owning the facilities for a period of time before they actually transfer it back to the owner. Because of money, because of financial issues, maybe they don't have, the client don't have the money, they don't have the financial capability to build it, or they don't have that technical resources to build it, and therefore they need to have that model. This model is for that purpose normally. So I also won't call it traditional. Like, it is considered as a non-traditional method, which is a little bit more modern, okay, than the others that I talked about. So I would say it's a non-traditional model. It's okay if you want to put this bit onwards as traditional. I'm fine with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, okay. But this bit onwards, they are considered as more modern, so we call it a non-traditional method. And of course, partnering and strategic alliances, they are actually very, very similar, very, very similar. Joint venture, these are all very similar method. And then of course, we have many other things like called PPP, public private partnership and PFI, private financing initiatives. This is a little bit, it's like a jabang from concessional contract. Concessional kind of methods as well. So these are considered as more non-traditional. So this is like how people are put into a different relationship mode. So like JV, you have maybe the designer JV with the contractor's JV with the supplier, or it could be like international contractor JV with the local contractor, and having the contract with the main client. Like that happens a lot. We saw Metro at the moment. You have a lot of international China contractor coming in and JVing with the local contractor. And of course, if it's not being treated carefully, then the interrelationship between the people who are JVing or partnering or strategic alliancing, it can be an issue, because the local contractor may have subcontractor, may have suppliers that they're using local facilities and local resources, and what type of contract will actually govern, and are they actually being governed by the law of Malaysia? And this China contractor may want to use their China contract, for example, and they said it because we provide so many things, we want to have a say. So you see, if this relationship is not being managed very carefully, it's going to have a lot of very detrimental effect in the local construction scene. Okay. And then we may have a lot of court cases and dispute coming up that could actually waste time, waste money, and in the end not deliver the project at all. So like I said, procurement strategies is really based on the project requirement. What is the project all about? What resources you have, and what resources you don't have, and what is the best way of delivering, forming that relationship to deliver the project. It's like trying to form a relationship that can be the most efficient and effective way of delivering the project. And a lot of people, honestly, they don't really think about this sort of things. A lot of government agencies, a lot of developer, they don't think about this sort of things. They will jump into it, and then just simply take one thing off the shelf, like TGCGA or construction, management or concessional contract or partnering or whatever, public financing initiatives. All these things, they could just jump into it, and then, without actually forming a clear form of accountability, governance, accountability, and also which law actually will govern. Of course, if you work in Malaysia, it's supposed to be law of Malaysia that governs. There's no other way to it. But then, there will always be arguments, because the other party are signing a contract as well. You see, so that could be an issue, and then whether they have the right to sign a contract or not, because they are from international, they are not from local Malaysia. So there is a lot of issues. Okay, and this is why project fails. You see, why project is not being delivered on time, and on budget and all that, and why there are issues with payments and scheduling and all sorts of things. You see, so I think for me, it's like, as a person who studied procurement as my main specialization areas, I honestly feel like this is an issue, and I think that all engineers must look at procurement strategy very carefully, okay, before you embark onto a new project at all, because the rest of the contract type and also tendering type, this is a lot later already. This is like having a bad start. Do you want to have a bad start? Do you want to have a good start or not? Okay, so having a good start is important, and selecting the procurement strategy is important. So if I look at this chart back again, okay, just chart it back again. So this is whereby we are determining which type of procurement strategy. So it means your requisition is being initiated. And then from this requisition initiation, we are determining in the requisition cycle the procurement strategy and the contract type as well. Okay, so are we clear? I hope that kind of like is a quick overview of procurement strategies that I have already prepared the pre-recorded for you all, okay? And the lecture notes also, part of it is talking about all these things, so they'll supplement one another. So you must read both set of notes carefully before you decide on which procurement strategies is the best for you. So again, like I said, in order to decide, you must first and foremost know your project environment first. Then from your project environment, then you decide project strategy, your project requirement, what is your project all about, your project environment and your project itself, and the expertise and whatever not that you have for the project. Get that clear out first before you select the right strategy. And that strategy is so important because it forms the right start. It forms the beginning of the procurement, initiating the procurement. And the rest of the other things are just complementary to the procurement strategies. Okay? Are we okay? Are we still alive? Okay. Can we take a 5 minutes break? And I will go and grab myself a drink, okay, and I'll come back. And is everyone okay?
Yeah, doctor.
Yeah. So go and grab yourself and some ice cream or whatever, because it's Saturday afternoon after all. Okay. Yeah. So we'll be back in 4:20 lah, huh? Okay, are we back yet?
Yes.
Okay, let's continue lah, huh? Okay, so yeah, so whatever procurement strategies that we've adopted, okay, you know, there will be a contract lah, huh, at the end of the day. Okay, and this contract is not exactly what we talk about when we talk about terms and conditions. Huh? This is about like what I like to call it is like a mode of payment. To me, it's like a mode of payment. So you know when you are this person who actually in that relationship needs to actually sign a form of contract. Okay, and it is not as simple as shake hands, you know, and then oh okay, you know, and then like we have a contract already. It's not like that, huh? That is normally not the case, huh? In modern world, normally in modern world now we like to form proper written contract with one another, and it's so important as well. I mean, and I would say this is not to say whether it's option or not. It's basically it's what something you must do, okay, to have a proper contract with one another, and there's a lot of different contract type. Okay, there's different model or contract type. Okay, and when we talk about contract type here, we're not talking about the terms and conditions here. We're talking about generally as an overview, what umbrella are you falling under? Okay, so these are the few umbrella that we actually have as a mode. We call it a mode of contract. It's just like you go out and buy something. Are you going to use credit card? Are you going to pay cash? Are you going to do online transfer? Are you going to use apps? One of those S Pay apps or you know Shop Pay or you know Shopee Pay or Grab Pay. You know there's a lot of mode of payment. Okay, so this is what we call mode of contract. Okay, and then under each mode of contract, you will have your own terms and conditions. Okay, and under different mode, under different type of contract, it will be linked to different. It does work better with certain procurement strategies, and not to say that they all cannot apply. There is a fixed relationship, but there are just some that is a little bit better. You know, if you have a certain mode of contract, for example, okay, sorry, certain mode of procurement strategies. So certain mode does go with certain strategies better. You know, I'm not sure if you know what I mean. It's just like, you know, like how come you guys work in the group of three? You know, like because you guys kind of work better with one another, kind of thing. You know, so this is the same thing. It's not necessarily say, oh, you must work with like Hafifi, must work with you know, Bonga or you know, siapa Pegamix, you know. It's not like that, you know. But it's just that there tend to be a tendency of certain people or certain things that work better with one another. The relationship is just a little bit more favorable in that sense, okay? To produce more favorable results in that way. Huh? So the first thing here is under this different umbrella or different mode, okay, we will have how do I put it now? Basically it's just like the sharing of the risk here, huh? Let's say, you know, contractor, client, and shade, you know, there is it's about how the payment will be made in that sense, how the final delivery associated with the cost of the project will be managed in that sense, huh? Say if you have fixed price contract, okay, if you have a fixed price contract, okay, lump sum is definitely one of the fixed price contract, okay. It means that the price of the contract has already been fixed, okay, and in terms of lump sum is a firm fixed price. So when you enter into a lump sum contract, essentially the contract itself has already come with the final pricing, okay, and this final pricing is whenever after you deliver everything, this should be paid, fixed paid to the client. I mean, fixed paid by the client to the service provider. Okay, and you're not supposed to actually change, things at all in that sense. Okay, and lump sum, usually we say it comes with a firm fixed price. Okay, and then if there is something like a variation, okay, there's a very delicate relationship here in the sense that, when you say that I go into this contract with you, you're supposed to deliver to me this set of product at this price, you see. So when I get this set of product, I will have to pay you this price, So how you make it, and how, if whether you are making money or not, and how you price your things as the service provider or as a contractor, the client essentially, when they already agreed to the price, they have to go accordingly. Okay. And me as a contractor as well, when I say this is how much I'm going to deliver to you, whether I'm going to put more or less or whatever, in the end, if that product is whatever that you say I need to deliver, okay, then this is it. I will be paid this fixed price. Okay, but there's a very delicate thing here. Is sometimes, because contract is not really something that can be so fixed in that sense, and there will be circumstances whereby you actually will get issues like, things suddenly change, and you want to change certain things. And if the client requests for certain changes, okay, then there is going to be a change to the final pricing. Okay. And this has to be a very fixed changes that is ordered by the client. Whoever initiate the change can vary. For example, if a contractor, you go to site, you realize that is not what it is supposed to be like, and then you have issues in completing this particular product or these particular facilities due to site access or due to whatever reason. When it's initiated by the contractor or the service provider, things gets a little bit messy. Okay, because then the client will say that, oh, I've already asked you to go and check everything before you give me the price. You see, so now I refuses to pay these additional things because it's supposed to be your responsibility to deliver the product, to me by hook or by crook. So whether your material supplier delay you or increase your prices or whatever, actually it has nothing to do with me as a client. That is usually the argument that most clients will have, you see. But if the changes is actually initiated by the client, that one is very fixed, very clear. I originally want A, now I want A plus B. So I need to pay for B, you see? So I cannot expect that suddenly halfway through I say I want an extra floor height, or I want an extra floor space, or I want an extra gold material on my toilet, and therefore, you have to give it to me at a fixed price. No. So like I said, when it's initiated by the client, changes or any variation initiated by the client, it can change the lump sum contract, okay? But if it's initiated by the contractor, it has to be very clear that it is something that is completely unforeseen, and it is something that cannot be helped by any party. And then it has to be proven that it is not his fault, and then he project the problem to the client. That's why it's always good for the contractor or the service provider and supplier to project the problem. You don't go and fix the problem, okay, and then expect to be paid extra. A lot of contractors, they have that kind of mentality. I give you a separate proposal and then I expect to be changed. Things expect to be changed. So in the end, you may be accused of not checking out the site or not looking at the specs properly before you even price for the job. So it's better if you can say, okay, we have this problem. we have accessed the site, or we have already looked at the issues, or with the factory or whatever, or with the prices of rising of material, or it could be like global issues, or it could be a legal legislation change, or it is not really the control of the contractor. Okay, then you present the problem to the client and get the client to initiate the change. Then changing on a fixed price contract is a lot easier that way. It's a lot clearer that way. Okay, so I'm not sure if you get what I mean. It's like a little bit of a trick here, but then but try not to be a big apple and say that, oh, you know, I've got this problem. I think you need to change this to this spam power, change the RC power, you know, whatever, you know, and you say, oh, in the end, it's going to cost this much. So it's like, how, you know, like I already told you, you have to check the site, you see, before you price the contract. Now you tell me this cannot do, that cannot do, this cannot do, that cannot do. That can only show that you as a contractor, or you as a service provider or a supplier, is being very, very not doing your due diligence, is number one. Number two, you are just being very sneaky here, because you're trying to get the project first and then change everything to get a better price, you see. So why not I retender everything? That would be the assumption that people make. So like I said, when the changes is initiated by the contractor on the opposite end of the service provider, then it is usually a little bit difficult, unless you can really prove that these changes is actually wrong. I mean, it's actually something that is really unforeseen, and it's something that is really out of the way. Okay, that is really something that is out of the way to be controlled by anybody here. It's just like, you know, you suddenly have an earthquake, you know, like how can you expect me to know, you see? Or you have a big, huge flood, for example, and that, you know, like wash out some of your bunkers out, some of your whatever, you know, and you need to rebuild that. So that one you need to change the price, you see? So lump sum has that element. It has a firm fixed price. Lump sum with firm fixed price, okay? And there could be also a combination here, okay, with provisional sum. There will be a part of the contract that is lump sum. The whole contract is lump sum, but there will be a part of the provision that you are giving an open measurement, okay? So that is usually what we call provisional sum, and normally we would do that with some that we are still unsure of. So you can see that with a contract like this, you normally would like it, I mean, that it usually will mean that there is something to the contract that is not finalized yet. So then you may have this lump sum with provisional, okay? So this is also a lump sum contract. It's also a fixed price contract, but you know, there is a room for some changes. So in that lump sum, in that provisional part bit, it will be, the quantity is going to be not confirmed yet, and the sum, the rate will be confirmed, okay? So the quantity, which is the estimated quantity, and will be subjected to remeasurement later. So that will also, that one is the part of that particular provisional. We call it provisional. Then, of course, we have also bills, BQ, you know, a fixed, is a BQ contract, okay? BQ contract means that the whole BQ is actually subjected to remeasurement. So we normally call that remeasurement, a remeasurement contract. And well, it is still part of, it is still considered as a fixed price contract, because when you go into the contract, you're actually filling in the rate and then times it with the estimated quantity that is given to you, and then you get a final contract sum, and that contract sum is being compared between different contractors. And then when you compare them, when you compare with that one, you're actually comparing apple with apple with apple with apple, you see? So you're not comparing apple with orange, because if I open it up and let you do your own quantity, then that means I don't know whether, you know, party A is actually offering what here, party B is offering what here, and then therefore party B may be based on certain quantity and party B may be based on certain quantity, so it can get a bit confusing. So it's difficult to measure. So for this sort of fixed price contract, we usually would call it like reimburse. We call it a remeasurement. Okay, remeasurement contract. So, or BQ contract, we call it. We will measure. BQ will be generally measuring the entire contract all over again. So it will be a redetermination of quantity at the end of the day. So in this type of contract, it does require a lot of human capital because you need to do remeasurement at the end of the day. So every single work that you do, you have to keep very good record of the work so that you can claim the money back at the end of the day. So this is what we call lump sum with some form of provisional sum. Okay, and or it can be part provisional or entire thing is based on BQ. So you can see that this is under fixed price contract, but but this is not exactly completely fixed. There will be some room for floating in that sense. Okay, and there's another type of contract which is also considered as lump sum, but it's a stage lump sum. So it means that you do certain part first. Certain part is already confirmed. I mean, like certain part is confirmed, certain part is not confirmed yet, and certain part is like confirmed. So those confirmed part, so you build out stage by stage. So we call it stage lump sum contract. So in a way, that contract is being broken down into different stages in that sense. So at different stage, when you're doing the first stage, basically means the second and third stage punya design may not be completed yet, and therefore you will still go into it as a whole lump sum contract, but the pricing will only come later. I think that is typically seen in some of the contract now, especially like art and all that, because they're not sure of the certain routes along the way and or what they will get underground. So even the whole contract is lump sum, they will fix the first portion and they will look at the site as the project progresses. They will look at part section B, change whatever to change whatever, and check that change and redo some design, and then to confirm those design at a certain stage, and then recalculate the price at that stage. So then again, these are all still considered as fixed contract, but it's a stage kind of fixed contract. Okay, so this is typical fixed contract that we will usually fixed price contract, we call it. And then there's another type that is we call reimbursable contract. Reimbursable contract, okay, reimbursable contract, reimbursable contract mainly is dealing with like cost plus contract. Cost plus contract is a very interesting type of contract. Okay, I think there's some mistake here. This one here is remeasurement is not supposed to be here. Okay, remeasurement is supposed to be here. I will make some amendments here later. Okay, right. I think it's a cut and paste salah. Okay, so mainly reimbursement contract, we are basing it on some sort of like a contract that is really things are not clear yet. The scope of work is completely unclear. So some client opt for this sort of method because they will get a contractor to come in and do the costing on the parts that is whatever that is being done. They will send in the cost plus certain percentage of fixed fees. And it's very interesting. I'm not sure if you heard of it before, but I don't think we execute most of the contract that way. Normally, I think it's pretty much reimbursable reimbursable contract, and also reimbursable and sorry, we usually go for remeasurement or the fixed price lump sum and all that. So the first one that I talked about just now, this part here, this part here is actually more common, a lot more common, okay, than what we see in Malaysia. But this one is a lot less common, okay. But it is done before. I think if we one of these Skudai College or something like that, a few interesting project in West Malaysia that we actually use cost plus contract, and that is a part that you will engage a contractor, they will build, and then they will send in their percentage. And I think if people working for Shell, you may have seen, like oil and gas, you may have seen this sort of contract as well. It's like whatever that you do, you send in your costs. So there will be invoicing from the suppliers and all that. And then the person who execute the job, the group who execute the job will get a fixed fee or incentive fees or a percentage fees or a management fees. So it's also quite common because these are type of contract that you will usually see if the job scope is very unclear at any point in time. So you need to get a project going and make it even, design, build. So this one will definitely go very well with design and build kind of contract. Okay. and design and build. So meaning that the strategy can be designed and built. Okay, with traditional general contracting, I think most of the costing strategies will have to go back to the fixed price ones. That is the best. Okay, that is the best combo. Okay, design and build is like once the design is done, like part of the design is done, then the contractor will start building it, and then they will send in their concrete price. They will send in their this is really cost price. It's not no joke. It's cost price. It's not talking about contractor's cost. The contractor will go and get the bills and everything, and then pass it to the client. The client has to pay. According to the material, labor, and everything, the cost price. And then from the cost price, the contractor will get a fixed percentage. Let's say 5% of the cost. 10% of the cost, or they will get a fixed fees. Like at the end of the day, they will get 2 million lump sum, for example. And then so every time they will claim the cost plus the fixed fees percentage like that, or fixed fee, or they will claim management fees. So our every month management fee of 50,000 or 100,000 or something like that. So cost plus is a very interesting mode. I think it's interesting because it really saves cost, but there's a lot of lobang to this. There's a lot of pitfalls to this because how many contractors will really give you the cost, you see? I mean, like, it takes a lot of integrity. I mean, I would tell my supplier to bump out the cost, correct or not? Like my concrete, instead of 250 per meter cube, I would say you put $400 per meter cube. But obviously, the client side need to check lah, takkan lah, you borrow, people put 400, also you pay 400. If the market price is only 250 and maximum that everybody's paying is 280, why should you be paying 400, you see? So again, yeah, there is a lot of room. There's a lot of bed. This is a good bedrock for infection or manifestation and investing of some not good practices like in that sense. And therefore, some of this project that is being used, that has already used this method, has always failed. It has always failed. It's just like Shell is producing to some supplier that you're producing the gas tank or pipeline or whatever. You give me the fixed price of the pipeline and I'll pay you a fixed percentage, especially if it's fixed management fees or per month. I can tell you, I mean, like some contractor will just go ahead and, claim month by month, even months they're not doing anything, they will claim for the fixed fees, you see. So, and then that will give a background of I want to continue to do this project for the rest of my life because every month I'm collecting like a fixed fees. The project is not complete, and they will not complete the project. They will not try to complete the project, and because under this contract in the initial stage is not very structured in that sense. So there is even more reason why you are not completing the project. You can create all sorts of reasons for not completing this part, that part, and all that, and continue claiming a fixed incentive fees or fixed fees or percentage fees and all that. Okay, so have to be treated very carefully. So this is one of the method, one of the contracting method is like, like I say, you have credit card or you have got online payment. Like online payment also have different type of online payment and not necessarily just bank transfer you can do SouthPay, you can do GrabPay, you can do Shopee Pay, so many, or you can use TNG, for example. So again, lump sum contract, like I said, there's different cabang as well. But if you want to pay with cash, there is also different cabang as well. And then this is like paying with cash kind of mode, but then you pay with cash, but plus other things, plus my service. It's just like Grab driver come to you, you bring in your cost price for the food, but then he has to charge a delivery fee, something like that, this is reimbursement kind of contract. So you need to reimburse the person who is giving you the service, okay? And so remeasurement contract, we will usually fix it under the fixed price, not under reimbursement. Remeasurement, sorry. And there's another type is called incentive-based kind of contract. Okay. So here, you take a look. I've also put down what are the good things and bad things, and incentive contracts and also reimbursement contract, what we call the advantages, disadvantages. So these are things that you have to learn. This is something that I've just mentioned just now. Okay, and incentive based, there are some formulas that you have to determine the incentive. So one of them is called maximum guarantee price. So they are getting client and contractor to work together, or the service provider to work together in that sense, to produce to produce a costing estimates that is very maximum. That's already like you cannot go more than that. And then if you can go less than that, okay, there will be sharing of pricing. So contractor are actually giving a promise in the sense of fixing it at the highest price. Okay. And then, of course, there's another one. It's called target cost. It means that the client and contractor already push they already target at one specific cost, and then if they can go below, and all this way, both of this, okay, both of this is actually trying to get the client is trying to see the client to get a very firm idea of how much it will cost them, and then by giving extra incentive to the contractor to actually perform. So if they can go below the maximum guarantee price, okay, then there will be savings. If they can make any savings, then they will actually be sharing the the savings, 50% savings or 70-30% savings that sort of things. And then it is usually giving that making the client sort of like take the less risk. So obviously guarantee maximum price is not the price that the contractor will finally be paid. Okay, if they are going to be finally paid that price, then of course I want to go for the maximum guarantee price. Why I want to do savings for what, then what it means that they will give an indication of the highest price. And if the contractor can go below the higher price, then they will do profit sharing between the two. You see, and target cost is also the same. The contractor and client will agree on the target cost, and then if there's any cost savings, or cost overrun, they will have to share the risk. Okay, so this one is relatively the client is trying to minimize their risk on wrong on calculation of the wrong estimates and all that. Okay, and cost reimbursement and incentives. These are incentive-based kind of contract. And there are other type of contract that is based on time and materials, on labor costs, or purchase orders. These are all service type of contract, It's more on the service kind of contract. And indefinite delivery. This one here we hardly see it usually it's about definite quantity. If there's a definite quantity or there is any indefinite quantity that we are looking at, but in the end, the terms and condition is based on these sort of elements, whether you usually dealing with like very contract that is not really they need external international counterparts and all these sort of things. So then there will be some form of issues with the final delivery of goods and materials and all that. So, but we hardly use that. I mean, like even if you want to use that, then, it should be partially, because we don't really use that is because most of our materials, when we get, Malaysia, we're still trying to do like, support the local material, not so much on, buying everything internationally. Like, it's hard. I mean, like we know it's cheaper to get from China, you see. So then, but then there's a lot of issues with quality and testing record materials and all that. That is completely different. The standards are different because we use a lot of BS standards and Euro standards and all that. Not so much on the Asian China standards and Chinese standards and all that. So they could be very good, but there is a little bit of indefinite kind of measurement there that we are a bit unsure of. Therefore, we don't really activate this sort of like contract at all. So mainly, but like I said, this is more on a supply kind of contract. And of course, this is more on time, material contract, labor contract. So this is when we're talking about service, and this is more on materials, supply. This is more on the service kind of contract, and this one is generally can be on both service and material, service material, or can be on work, construction work and all that. So there are different these are different model of contracting huh? And like I say, the notes here go on and talk about different fixed price, provisional sum with scheduled rates, and variable contracts, etc., which I've explained just now. So what are the typical good and bad, and what they are suited for? Okay, reimbursement, remeasurement contract. See, remeasurement and reimbursement is different thing. Okay, so reimbursement is more on cost price. Okay, and actually, if it's very confusing, then we may want to put remeasurement as by itself. But I think it's also fine if it's under that lump sum contract. But yeah, some people, I'm just worried that you may be confused, because in the industry sometimes they pull out remeasurement contract completely from fixed price contract in that sense. Let me think about it. But you go and look at the notes later on. I will rearrange my notes a little bit just to make sure that I try to get rid of those confusion, because like incentive, actually some of these models, model, they actually use other part of the contract, like for example, like maximum guarantee price. They will also have an element of fixed price as well, you see. Then of course, over the fixed price there is cost savings, or cost overrun. There's some profit and loss sharing kind of thing, you see. So they are not exactly like clear cut by itself lah, put it this way lah, huh? So remeasurement are usually like BQ contract, and but like I said, provisional is also fixed price contract. So provision is like BQ is just the entire contract is provisional, whereby if provisional lump sum contract is the whole contract is lump sum, but there's one part of it that is provisional. But when you enter into a remeasurement contract, also the price that you enter into it is a fixed price. But in the end, it's also a lump sum. It's also a fixed price, but it's only in the end you need to remeasure. You see, so I would have a tendency just to put it under under fixed price. But like I say, I may confuse you later on. So that's why I think it's better if I take it out and put it under a category of its own, you see. So yeah, let me do about it a little bit more, because in the industry, mainly they will split it, remeasurement is remeasurement, they call it BQ contract, and then lump sum is lump sum, they call it fixed price contract. Okay, but like I say, none of this method is actually really a clean, clear standalone. There will always be like intermixing a little bit of here and there as well. Like a little bit of here, this method with that method is a combination, but it's under a different name kind of thing. I'm not sure. I may be confusing everybody. Okay, it's a very confusing Saturday. Okay. Anyway, so this is about contract method. Okay. So like I say, once your requisition cycle is clear, okay, which means you are determining your procurement strategies, okay, and your contracting strategies, okay, at this point in time, it's also important that you also determine, once you've got the contract type, to also determine the terms and conditions pertaining to that contract. Because once you move into the solicitation cycle, this is the part that we are inviting proposal already. We're inviting bids already. Okay, we're inviting people to tender already. And if you don't get this requisition cycle out clear, that's why as consultant, your part of your consultancy fees that you quote normally will also have this requisition fees involved, meaning that you are planning the tender document, you're planning all the BQs, you're doing all the tender documents. These are all under requisition cycle. So requisition cycle, you prepare for your procurement, you prepare for your strategies for procurement, and then that combine which one with what type of contract, and with what type of contract you'll be adding in, maybe using certain standard form of contract, or you have your own certain company, certain terms and conditions, or you may have your own If you're working internationally, you may have your own country terms and conditions that you want to add in. So this has to be very clear. It has to be all settled in this requisition cycle. Because once the requisition cycle is confirmed, the documents will be prepared already. So once, if you're not clear about this requisition cycle, you cannot move on to the solicitation cycles. That's it. Like no compromise. There is no what if or requisition cycle. You need to clear these things up, because terms and conditions and all that has to be written down. It has to be put in proper documents. Your tenderer will come and get your documents, and then we will move into the solicitation cycle. Okay. So there will be a note on solicitation cycle. Okay. And so solicitation cycles is basically about, starting the process. Is about soliciting it. It's about, sending out requests and, calling out and say, who wants to, the word solicitate means that you want to get it, you want to clinch, you want to fix the deal, you see. So who are you fixing the deal with? So you're basically trying to you're going through a process of shouting out and say, hey, I've got this thing here, who's going to come and help me with it? Then the right party or many party will come and bid or send in a proposal, and then you select the right party to deliver the product or project. So the whole process is this, so from confirmation, the documents are ready, all the procurement method are ready. It has to be all written down in terms and conditions, whether this is a lump sum contract or this is a fixed price contract, whether this is going to be a provisional or whether it's remeasurement, whether it's a incentive based or plus which type of procurement method, that relationship, everything has to be clear, and then the documents are ready, you see. Without that, the documents cannot be ready. Once the documents are ready, you're basically trying to shout out and say that, find a way to shout and say that, oh, look, come and propose. Okay. So a tender, what is a tender? A tender is basically, an offer. So you are trying, when you tender out the project, it basically are soliciting offer. You're trying to get as many offer as you can to confirm, to finally confirm on who is going to be the one that will deliver the project for you. So you're trying to solicitate as many offers as you can. And that offer, the decision will always be based on the terms and conditions and also the money and also the time. So these are the typical things that we will look at, when we talk about soliciting who is the best person to do the job. So how much are they offering to do the job for, and how fast can they do it for? I mean, I've got a client who actually asked me about tender. They got like 3 person to tender, and then one of the conditions that they look at is how fast they could deliver the project. So don't say that time is not important, even though in a lot of contract times already fixed at 14 months or 12 months or whatever. So they want to see if there's any contractor that can commit to that time or even deliver it faster. So this is one of the biggest consideration. And then in the end, they pick the contractor that can actually deliver the project faster in 12 months, because that is what they are. It is one of the major issues that need it to be done before 14 months, for example. So money wasn't a very, very big issue. So if there's one contractor that quote a little bit higher compared to the other one, like 5 or 10% higher, they may actually go for that one, in the end, because the time matters to that client. And other conditions, besides them being able to fulfill the terms and conditions, that they look at terms and conditions, they think they can do it and carry out the obligations. They also look at other like finance of the company, experiences. Experience is very, very important. To some client, this is very important, because if you've done the job and you have a brand new company who has never done the job, and no matter how cheap you are, we cannot trust you, because we need the job to be delivered, especially some job that has very high technical complexities, like for example, raw water intake tank, treatment plants. These are all dealing with very, very specific mechanical parts and all that. Electrical parts, they can be very highly specialized, so we cannot afford to look at new contractors, for example, or new service provider, somebody who is a new kid on the block. We may not want to give them that chance, you see. So these are we're trying to solicitate, but we need to, for solicitation, as you can see, that we need criteria. So you need to have different criteria all set up first before you can solicitate the offer. So soliciting offer means that you are going out and ask for people to give you an offer, you see. And this is what we call tendering, no? So in the first stage of the stages of a project, this one is more dealing with so under procurement section, once the design or partial of the design is done, like I said, depending on the type of project, obviously not all projects the design are fully completed. There will be project that is half completed, or there will be some project that is very urgent that without any design, they will tender it out. You get a lot of this sort of project now. I'm sure if you work for certain agency, you will know that, like they actually tender out project that is kosong and then get contractor to do their own design and survey and all that. So that could also be it, so not necessarily design is done stage 2, but you can actually go straight to stage 3, which is tendering. So, but then your document, your requirement cycle and your requisition cycle has to be very clear lah. So you need to have all the documents ready. You may not have drawings ready, but all the documents, all the terms and conditions and all the writing, all this must be ready. Project brief, everything must be ready for the solicitation to start, for the tendering process to start. So when the tender start, this is the start. This is also part of procurement. Procurement start a lot earlier. A lot of people like to think that tendering is procurement, but to me, academically, like I say, tendering starts when you are actually deciding on your requisition. Okay, it's as early as that. Okay, and then when you are clear about this is a go ahead of the project already, your requisition, your tendering, your procurement already started. And tendering is like a solicitation cycle of the procurement management framework. Okay, so of course, why you want to tender? Because you want to get the best, you want to get the best people to do the job for you. You want to get somebody who can match your mind, give the best, give the best meeting of minds with one another. Okay, and of course, pick the best price, pick the best service, and how could you do that without letting everybody know that you have a project that needs to be solicited, you see, that they need to get an offer. So of course, tendering objective, you want to get the best interest for the best qualified, best encourage the best competitive bidding. That is about governance as well. It's about transparency. It's about fair price. It's about best value. It's about meeting of the mind, which is when you read the tender document, when you come into and tender and give me a bid or give me an offer, I want to make sure that you know what you're looking at. Like we both have the same meeting of mind, not you blah blah, I blah blah, then we muscle a contract in the end, say, hey, no leh, not like that leh, and the other person say, hey, no leh, not like that leh, and then we get into an argument with our contract. It's like, what the heck, it's like we're not going to waste time on that. So tendering solicitation cycle is make sure that the documents are so ready, the briefing are so clear that the other party, they know what you want, you meet the mind of one another, and then they go back and then they calculate and then they propose and then they send in their bid. And that is how you solicitate the best offer. So the meeting of mind is very important. Okay. So then it also allows people to resolve, any misunderstanding, any potential miscommunication, and is there any clarification that needs to be done before the tender process starts? Okay, so of course there are different type of tender. I think all of you know these sort of things. Do I really have to go through this like one by one? I'll just quickly go through it, okay, and see if maybe some of you are very, very new, but I kind of doubt it. Yeah. So tendering, open tender is really the most basic open, tendering model that you will get. Okay. And it deals with opening up to anybody, so it has to be a general advertisement. But of course, in the document for the sebut harga, you need to provide that you want only certain criteria lah. For example, I want somebody who is actually class A, okay, or B and above. Must have UPK license, must have 5 years experience, must have financial capital of like 500,000 or whatever. So you put it in that document, okay? And then when you open it up, when you give notice to say that there is an opportunity here, you are actually opening to anybody who has the equal opportunity. I mean, like your opening is a very fair process that anybody who has that kind of characteristic or that kind of offering, they if they belong to that criteria, they can come and tender. So even if you get like 100 tenderer, okay, then you have to assess all of them. That is the open tender process. So normally you put it up. The process is you put it up on like internet nowadays, or the last time it used to be newspaper lah, like 3 newspaper, BM English Chinese, and then that's why as a contractor, our job, as an engineer when I was a lot younger, I have to open newspaper every Saturday and make sure that I check whether there's column of tendering available and the advertisement from Kuching Water Board, Cebu Water Board, Laku or JKR on tender. Okay. But nowadays, I think things are a little bit more sophisticated. Like you will get like maybe notifications from some agencies, or then you may get on the general website, tender opportunities. So you can just go to the website and look for it as well. Okay, or they can also put it on their company billboard. But who's going to go to company? I mean, who's going to go to the billboard and look at it? Like not the notice board. I think that is hardly it anymore. Now people even put on social media, I think. Like put it on Facebook and you follow the Facebook or something like that. But it just basically means advertisement, and then you could also ask for expression of interest if you want. That one is also quite fair, meaning that you've got this thing, get people to express interest so you don't waste time. Okay, or printing like 100 documents and then in the end only 10 people pick it up and then you throw the rest of 90 away, the kind of thing. So open tender, you have to manage it because you're going to get a large pool of people coming in to say they can do the job, you see. So, but this large pool, many of them may be a waste of time because they are really not qualified. See, so but open tender is really very fair. It really offers the greatest competition, and it allows new people, emerging supplier, emerging contractors to come and secure the work as well. So it's a very open, fair process in that sense. But then it just may be creating a lot of wasting on time and paperwork and all that for the party who are soliciting the offer, you see. So like the client themselves. So it could take a lot of time to, just to prepare the documents and get the things rolling. In the end, many come, but in the end, only 5 can use. Then rest is not good. You see, they're all here for a party. But then in the end, it's just a boring thing. In the end, only 5 people are really qualified. That kind of thing. So you can waste a lot of time. Okay, selective tendering is when you actually you can actually go through an open tender of expression of interest, meaning that you get people to express their interest, and you look at their company profile, and then after that you selectively tender, meaning that you send out invitation to the people that you think qualify, or you've already got a pool of people that you think is qualified, okay, and then you get them to tender. Then you invite, send invitation. So this is what we call selective tendering, and selective tendering is especially appropriate for specialist or complex contract. So you want to know exactly what they are good at first already. Okay, I mean, like I said, you could go by expression of interest, meaning that they will send in their letter, they will send in their company profile, their bank statement, and all that, and then you go through that and say, okay, I think out of these 50 people, I think only 5 is really good. So these 5, you send out invitation, and then when you invite them to tender, okay, then they will pick up the documents that you prepare. So then when you send out the 5 invitation, you only need to prepare 5 documents, basically. So it's really not so much of a wastage. Then because drawing printer A1, all the paperwork printer is like thick files, it's hundreds and hundreds of pages that you need to print and prepare and all that. So if you want to prepare a lot, it can be very expensive as well, even though it's paid by the tenderer, but there will be a lot of wastage actually. So selective tendering is like you basically allowing your supplier or your service provider or your contractor to actually be pre-selected first. So the list of suppliers are already, the list of the contractors are already been selected first based on the track record before they are, it's already an approved list lah, in that way lah, huh? And then they will come and quote, and they will come and make proposal, or they will come and bid. Okay. Negotiated tendering, you know, it's usually when there's only one or two person that is really qualified, you know, and well, I mean, like these are very highly specialized jobs that you may only, or highly specialized, like maybe pre-stressor, pre-CASA, IBS, you know, very highly specialized job requiring high precisions and all that. And then you only have that one or two supplier, you know, like, yeah, monopoly or whatever involved, you know, and then well, we're trying to do away with, I mean, Malaysia has to move away from this sort of like a monopoly kind of business, huh? That is how the world is going. You know, you cannot be in this little cocoon here trying to do monopoly business forever, you know, because then you lost the competitiveness. And then when international foreign investors comes in, they will look at your ESG, they will look at how you manage your governance, you know, I mean, how you do your governance for fair, transparent tendering and all that. So, like I said, negotiated tendering is usually you need to negotiate, meaning that you need to talk to that one person and negotiate with them. So it's basically a negotiation. And we will normally do that with very specialized consultants, very specialized contractors. You may do pre-qualification for selective and negotiated tendering. You may want to do pre-qualification, either expression of interest or pre-qualification tender first. Then after that, go into negotiated tendering or selective tendering. Okay, so this is about contractor offering certain cost that needs negotiated between the service, and the cost is negotiated between the two parties. So, but then the negotiation doesn't go on with a lot of people. It's only one or two or three, you know, maximum of two or three, I would say. But for selective tendering, can go more than 5 or even 8 or 10, but not a lot, you see. Open tender is like unlimited open. Okay. Serial tendering. Serial tendering is usually like a group kind of project lah, like macam group buy, macam itu, you know. So you're actually like getting them to tender for a few projects, you know, like you lump it under one contract sort of things. You see, so similar, you know, similar projects, or they will lump it under one serial tendering. You know, like it's in fact, you know, like standing offer to carry out a series of projects based on the same bill of quantities or same bill, same price, same documents. So meaning that, I mean, we can say it's by phases, you know, but then serial tendering is not really all about phases as well. You know, it's really like a lot of different projects all lumped into, I mean, like similar projects, but it's project by project, you know, all lumped under one category of tender. So meaning that one shot, maybe you can do that for pipeline, you can do that for, yeah, I mean, it's better to do it for like civil work, pipeline, drainage, sewage, you know, so you get a serial tendering, meaning that when they tender, they'll have different components, and that will be all based on one price later on. Or maintenance work also are very common. You see serial tendering for maintenance work, road maintenance and all that. Okay, not so much for construction now. Okay, so I mean, these are some of other type of arrangements, framework agreement, single tendering stage, single or two-stage tendering. This one normally we will how do I put it? A single tendering stage is used when all information necessary to calculate a priority price when tendering commences. I mean, like, okay, I think I will skip this. I mean, it's not so. Is it that important? Term tendering is a bit like serial tendering, mainly for maintenance work. Okay, framework. Okay, framework is more like how do I explain it better? Framework is like, okay, you it's for an entire okay, let's say grass cutting lah, like grass cutting kind of contract. Okay, so you're providing service for grass cutting, and then or landscaping. Okay, and but you tender for it. You have a framework agreement. Okay, you have framework agreement means that when I call you in to do this, you will do it by this rate. So you're basically confirming on the company to do this grass cutting or landscape. So when you call them in, they will do it. They will charge by hourly rate, by what they provide and all that. So this is what we call a framework kind of agreement. It's like a framework kind of, you tender for the framework lah, yeah. So it's just to set up the framework so that when if needed, you don't have to go through the tender process every time. So it will be like over a few years, for example. Okay, so these are solicitation cycles, so processes. So like I said, you have to have invitation. There will be always some form of invitation, and then after that, you will overall solicitate, prepare, approve to tender documents, and then invitation. So when the process is like when you send out the invitation, and then the contractor will receive, and then they will bid, and then it's about assessments of contractors, assessments of the people. This is the part that when the tender is being filled up, and then is assessed by the client. Tender assessment is by the client. Yeah. This is client. Okay. Okay, so when you request the bid, then the contractor will assess, as in they will go through the tender documents and then see if they really can do it and what they can provide. Sometimes it's by proposal. Sometimes it's just like the bill is there already. Negotiated usually is by proposal. Okay, negotiated tendering usually is by proposal. But when you have open tender, selective tendering, and a framework agreement, serial tendering, normally the BQ, everything is provided for by the client, because you need to compare apple with apple. We cannot have like people coming in and propose whatever they like, unless the assessment of that tenderer is really that field only, like negotiated, like like party A and party B, they are each giving like let's say two developers trying to come into the government agency and say, I want to develop your land, so they will give in proposal. They will go by proposal. You can go by negotiation on the proposal. So what you like, what you don't like, what you want to take out and all that. In the end, they will cost accordingly. So that is negotiated tendering. So when you do rest of the other tendering, normally the framework, the documents, everything has to be ready. Even though the drawings are not ready, even though the design are not ready, but the terms and conditions, what you need the tenderer to do must be there, and what you want them to deliver must already be there. At least there's a briefing, there is some form of sizing, there's some form of idea, concept about what is to be delivered. It's like a scope statement or project charter, at least, you see. So then after that, the client will assess, usually by their own reviewer board, which consists of their own designer, their own project manager, their own directors of the company, and who lead the tender assessments. So government agency will take this very seriously. All the right people, must be there. to be able to open the tender and assess the tender accordingly. And then you are going to be assessing the tenderer very, very carefully. Then finally, you may issue a letter of intent. Letter of intent, when you go on letter of intent, is like you really like that tenderer and then you want to go for him, but there are things that you want him to clarify as well. But it may not necessarily be an option to do. You can straight away go to directly award the contract. But if you want to issue a letter of intent, there will always be associated with some form of negotiation going on as well. So because you want to say I intend to give you a job, but I'm not clear about this. We want you to come in and clarify on this. So it is usually associated with some form of negotiation again. It's not completely just like, okay, confirm award. So when you have letter of award, it's a semi-quasi agreement already. So it has a legal impact. So when you give a contractor or service provider, a supplier, a contract, a letter of award, you are as good as giving them a contract. And you should not back up. And there's no reason why you should back up unless something drastically went wrong, and they will also have a validity of the letter of award as well, because you need to sign a contract at a later stage. And at this stage, if the contractor go and order materials and if they start to prepare for the project, and then in the end you don't give it to them, they can claim for losses. So that is the impact of award. So you see, at the end of the examination and selection of the tenderer, which is the final one that you either take a few and negotiate, you give them letter of intent and then you negotiate, or you directly give to one letter of award and then negotiate, clarify also can. And then once you already give the letter of award, you are actually already here. So you already complete your negotiation, or you give a letter of intent, and then you negotiate, and then you award. So award cycle basically is a confirmation. You just basically pre-signing only. You're already informing that party that, okay, come, I'm going to give you the contract. So letter of award is a very serious thing. So unless you are very clear on what you're doing, then you better don't simply give letter of award. But of course, letter of award is a confirmation. If you really want the things to be done, then you want the process to be jalan already, then letter of award is a must. Okay, so this is award procedures. This is award procedures. So invitation, and then processing, and then contract award. So once you're done, you're awarding the contract already. Once the contract is signed, stamped, then it's legal in the eye of law of Malaysia. Then that's it. You're progressing to start the job already, start the work already. Okay, so these are the different things that we do at different stages of the tender. So I think this is what we're trying to explain just now. So invitation, okay. So tender notice to invite. Okay, so these are all a lot of details on tendering processes and all that. And of course, the last bit here I want to cover is the evaluation of tender. So evaluation of tender, you must have criteria. You must split up your job into different criteria. I mean, like your assessment into different criteria, and what is important and what are you assessing. You may have a rubric scorecard and all that. But if you ask me whether it's right to assess the lowest price, I would say, yeah, why not? I mean, in the end, it's not the price, it's actually the value. Okay. And a lot of government agencies, they got it wrong. They either go for very, very low price, and then some of the job cannot be done or not covered in certain things and miss out on certain calculation, or they are funny enough to create a formula that says that all the price have to be around that minimum norm, like 90%, 95% percentile or 75% percentile kind of thing. Otherwise they won't access. And I think that is really silly, because in the end, what you assess a tenderer in terms of price is what are they providing for you? What is it that they're giving to you? If one guy is going to give you everything China product, and that is uncertified China product, compared to somebody who's giving you a Malaysia made or Thai made, or some place is certified BS or Euro or whatever, then the price is very different. So you need to look at your apple versus apple, and that is why you need BQ. That's why you need BQ to assess tender, because if you don't have BQ to assess tender, then everybody is going to propose the way they like, you see. And the writing in the tender, in the BQ, has to be very clear on what is it that you need to offer them, what is it that they want, and then what is it that you are offering, and then the pricing and the rates. And you're comparing that rates with rates, not so much on the final price, who is the best. So it's really, you want the best value, who is offering to solve your problem and completely solve your problem for for a long run, for long term, and with minimum maintenance, and the price that is offered is within something that you can afford, something like that. It's just like, I may not have the money to go for the highest laptop today. Like, you can pay 7,000-8,000 for a laptop, but in the end, it's not my best value because I don't need it. I'm not a designer. I'm not a gamer. I don't need that kind of high graphic card or high speed or whatever. I need to use my laptop to do my job, and write papers, and watch my dramas, and also to mark my exam and give classes online. These are all I need. So something that is good value to me will be something that is 2,000-3,000 that can offer me that kind of function, you see. So again, assessment of tender is something that I want to inform all engineers, and you are all practicing engineers, and I really help, like, make sure that you don't be so silly, trying to say, oh, okay, I go for the cheapest, really the cheapest, or you go for that rules of 95 percentile percentage. It's not clever, okay? It's completely not clever. Like, you get the consultant to do a definitive estimate, and then anything that is within the 75 percentile, then you accept that kind of pricing, and the rest that is not, then you're out. Somebody may be quoting you a high price because they're giving you good things, and somebody may be giving you a very, very low price, but they could be still giving you something that you really need. So why not assess it properly? I mean, this is some areas that I think we are also lacking in terms of engineering. In terms of governance, the G part, that we need fair, transparent, and accountable kind of way of soliciting best value and pricing and all that. This is one research, studies that we can do, to come up with assessments of tender, how to assess tender in a way that is good for your organization to solicit the best, advantageous, and economically valued pricing. Okay. So tender evaluation, like I said, it can be based on price, experience, past performance, technical skills, how many engineers you have, the resources availability, the management skills, what you can do, how many project manager you have, etc., etc. So I mean, it's not necessarily based on price. Okay, so evaluation, of course, there will be compliance, whether you comply, did they submit everything, whether the company is not a bankrupt company, you have current list of current work that you can actually show us that you've done, like past record These are some of the basic things and these are the typical evaluation criteria. Okay, and like in the end, most organization will base it on price, but really, 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 it's really based on what is the offer, not the price. Okay, what is the items that are offered, what are the price that are offered, what is the service that they are offering. So look at the offer, not the bottom line price, you see. Okay, so I'm not sure how many of you agree with me. Some of you may be sitting here and you're rolling your eyes and say that, I don't care, all I want is to get the cheapest price. That's what my organization is doing, you're here to hear another perspective. So it's okay. You just hear another perspective, and hopefully that can improve your work as well. Okay, so once you select the successful bidder, you need to inform them, Okay, and then with letter of intent, mainly there will be terms and conditions that there may be something for you to negotiate. Otherwise, it's letter of acceptance or letter of award. and the final stage is the award stage. So I think this covers a long slides that cover 59 slides, but not all of them are super relevant now. So just make sure that you understand the process, tendering process. Make sure that you understand a different tendering model and what suits your project better and what suits your organization better. And that will be the kind of answer that we'll be looking for in terms of the last question. Last question is on procurement. You'll be talking about project environment and what strategies and what contract mode is the best for your project environment. And then for your organization, what is the type of tendering model that suits your organization better? Okay, and I think you need to know the different type of methods and their advantages, disadvantages, and what it is good for. So I think you need to prepare your study in that way, so that you can do your own notes in that way. So I'm giving you tips, not for you to search for the answer here, but when you read through the notes, you pick up the right thing, and then you do a bit of study, and then additional study as well, and then you need to write some model answer, maybe, just to, practice, and say, okay, like my organization, my project, this is my project, this is my organization is what type of organization, and we need to have supply contract and all that. So in supply contract, which kind of contract that I would prefer to use, is it open tender or a contract, or what type of contract, what type of tender model that is more suitable. So your question 4, basically, it will cover strategies, it will cover contract, it will cover award. It will cover, the tender stage, the solicitation stage. So this is all we cover for procurement. Okay? Anything else?
Okay, if not, then I finish already. Anybody still need QR code? Anybody have questions? We can discuss. And anyone wants to talk about your project or your assignment? Before the next class with Dr. Lee, do you guys want a class, a short class, like maybe 1 hour? We call it assignment consultation sessions. Today is only the 6th, you see, so she will not come in until 20th, if I'm not wrong. Between now and 20th, would you like to wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, between now and 20th, what is the schedule like? I forgot. Anybody has a schedule? Can you tell me what is the last 2 classes? Last 3 classes. I'm a bit confused with my masters of engineering classes. Anybody can brief me? I think you've only got 3 classes left. So wait, you should have 4 classes left. Dr. Lee has only covered 3 classes with you. So there should be 4 classes left. Can you tell me what is the time for the last 4 classes?
Morning, doctor. On morning, doctor. On morning.
Is it Saturday morning?
Yeah, Saturday morning, LU 11, 12, 13, and 14.
On 20th and 27th, is it?
On 13, 14, and the next class is 27 and 28.
Oh, okay. So meaning 13 and 14, she's going to have a class with you lah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think if there's any question or assignment, you still can ask her on the 13, 14 week. And then maybe before we close up for the 27, 28, maybe on 22nd or 23rd or maybe 19. 19 I actually have class. 18 will be better. 18 or 22nd now, you all decide. Okay. Or even 29. Okay, 29 will be good. Yeah, Dr. Lee is not traveling yet. Oh no, 29, I am traveling. Okay, so I cannot, I have no access to internet. So 29 would be bad. So if you want to have discussion on the assignment or the project, both, me and her would be happy to do a consultation with you. Can we do it on 22nd? But on 22nd, I have a class from 12 to 2. Okay, so we have to do it either after 2. 18 lah, 18 will be better. Would you like to do it on the 18th? And you guys discuss whether you need it or not. But I prefer to at least see something from you guys in case, Otherwise, I may, both of us may get a shock, and then we all bang sang, and then you all fail later, and you don't even know why you fell, kind of thing. So, I mean, you still have like 1 week plus 2 weeks to do the project and assignment. You've already all downloaded the project, right?
Done, doctor.
Done, huh? So are you working on it? Or are you still working on Dr. Lee's assignment now at the moment?
Yeah, Doctor. Still working with the individual.
Okay, you better finish that up and then get going with the project. So, yeah, maybe we can set on the 18th lah. 18th, we give it tentatively on the 18th. I think the best time for everybody will be noon time, correct or not? Like you can have 1 hour of like short break for lunch and all that. Would it be better? I mean, like, it doesn't have to be everybody come. You all can come. We will just put a time there, say 12 to 1 p.m. or 11:30 to 1 p.m. maybe. Then we will leave the line open. So you don't need that long, basically, huh? It's just like a consultation sessions if you guys want to, talk about the project or the assignment, any questions, anything you want to show me, or you can give it to me by email also can, and I can comment through email. But when we comment through email, we don't comment a lot, it's like we have the very, like when you type the comment, it's usually a little bit brief in that sense. So if we go online face to face, then we can explain where your problem is a little bit better. Okay, so it's all up to you. I mean, like we have that as an offer on the 18th, maybe from 12 to 1 p.m. Or from 11:30 to 12:30 p.m. Okay, it's up to you. Just give me a text, or somebody give me a text, say that you want it or you don't want it. Then me and Dr. Lee will come out online, and you can ask questions both on the assignment and on the project if you want. Okay, so I think 18 will be a nice time because 22nd, I have a lunch class at 22nd. 23rd also can. 23rd also can. I'm free on the 23rd already. Or you want the 23rd also can. 22nd cannot. Okay, 24th. I'm still in Kuching, so I'm okay as well. It's Christmas Eve, so I don't know if you want to see me on Christmas Eve. Yeah, but 23rd lah. 23rd will be the last. 18th or 23rd. Okay. Lunch break. During lunch break. I actually prefer 23rd. So give you guys a bit more time. So meaning after the class with her on the 13th, 14th, if you still have any issues with assignment, everything, you get it sorted out with her. And then after that, you continue to do your project. And by the 23rd, you guys better show me something or at least email me something or something lah. Huh? Then I will set up a time to put it online. I mean, to put it in your group and say that I'll be available at this time for consultation. If you want to come and see me, also can in the office. But like it's a group project lah, so it's better that if we go online, okay? Then your group member can come all at the same time as well.
Sorry, doctor.
That is my suggestion, huh?
No, doctor.
Okay, huh? So you guys see how, okay? You guys go and finish your things first and then see how you go. I will ask you again maybe by 15, 16 if you want to do it
Hello,
on
doctor.
18 or, huh?
Hello. Hello, Doctor.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, Doctor. Can we do it on the weekends lah? I mean on the
Weekends?
27, yeah, 27, because we have actually we have class with Dr. Lee lah on the last 27, like that. I mean,
Oh, can
or
also.
weekends, because weekdays I'm quite busy lah. So sorry, yeah. I just want to share on the
Yeah.
weekdays. Yeah, if can do it on the weekends, it's better lah. If cannot, then I will try to find a time lah.
27, the problem is 26, I'm traveling. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30th, 31st, I'm not in Kuching. And some of those days I am not available through online. Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, so that's the problem. Otherwise, I think it's fine. Or if you guys want, we can set a time on the 20th or 21st. It's also a weekend. I'm also fine with that. Maybe in between the classes. Some of you
I'm okay
actually
lah.
have class next week. Some of you have class with me for quality management, right? What
Maybe
about
some
what?
new semester.
Sorry.
Maybe some with you next week.
Yeah.
Quality management. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we can set a time, like say around next week is 14, no? 14. No, I think 14 is a bit too early because I have a feeling some of you are not done yet. I think on the 20th is fine. 20th, during the time that we're doing quality management, or any time during that time around, like say, I don't remember what time I'm having doing quality management. Maybe about 2 o'clock or something like that. I mean, like it's all up to you guys. Okay.
Quality on 3 p.m. Doctor.
3 p.m. But 3 p.m.
Yeah.
that day I actually prepare pre-recorded. So I won't have a class, but I can do it with everybody. But I'm not sure if other people has class during that time. No, right? I mean, if you're not taking quality, then there's no class during that time for other things, right?
Yeah, I don't have.
Yeah.
any class.
Sure. That's the best. That
Yeah. Okay. So maybe we set on the 20th. Then I'll ask Dr. Lee to join as well. Then we give it an hour. Okay, then you all can, those of you who are attending the quality class can come on and join the class. I mean, can do the QR lah. Then I will leave you guys with the pre-recorded lecture. Then we will take that time to do the assignment discussion. So those of you who are not in the quality class can also join. I will give you the time and then you guys just pop by. Okay?
I'm okay.
Okay. Hafifi, okay? And the rest, okay?
okay, Doctor.
Yeah. And
Doctor,
yes.
one more for the individual assignment. Is it on 15 December? Is it the due date, or is there any extension of time?
Got.
I'm
I think
worried that I can finish it.
Dr. Lee said got like, I think until when, I don't know. I don't remember. She said 31st ka?
Sorry, because I didn't attend the physical class, so I don't really know.
Can you put in a group and check with her?
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I will also mention to her lah. I will also mention to her whether if she's giving extension, ask her to put it in the group, in our general group lah, huh?
Okay. Thank you, Doctor.
I will remind her right after this. Don't worry. But in
Okay,
case
thank you
no
so much.
response, you also tinker her lah, huh? So if not, then all of us next week you attend her classes. If you got any question, ask her. And on the assignment on the 20th, both of us will come back in again and also give you, we'll be sitting here. It's going to be a consultation session. Okay.
Okay, Doctor.
Okay. So you'll be from 3 to 4 maybe lah.
Sure.
Okay. Huh?
Okay.
All right. Then if not, then I'll see some of you next Sunday, 3 to 6 p.m. Okay, for quality management class. All right. Huh? Okay.
All right.
So if no more question, we call it a day, lah. Huh?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you,
Okay.
Doctor.
Bye bye. Have a good
Okay.
weekend.
Thank you, Doctor. Have a
Doctor,
good weekend.
Yes.
Bye.
Yes.
can you repeat once again on the exam tips?
No, you have to go and listen to the pre-recording. I mean, the recorded already. I'm not going to explain everything again. I'm tired of it.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Later on the exam tips, you go back to this. I will always put up recording, like all this class recording. You see, it's actually being recorded now. This class, okay? There is recording here. So later on, by next week, normally I will process it and put it on YouTube. And then I will put that link. You'll see that in every LU, right? As long as I put there full class recording, you guys can click into the full class recording. It will bring you to YouTube. And then you can listen to it like fully there. Okay. So I did the class, the tips just now at the first 30 minutes, around the first 30 minutes, I think. Okay. And just now also at the end, around the last 30 minutes around there, like around 5:30 like that, because I started the recording very June to today at 3 o'clock. So if you listen from 3 to about 3:30 or 3:35, that is whereby we have the class, that is where we got the tips there. And then if you listen to like 2.30 or 2.20 onwards until now, I also gave some tips just now at the end of the class, right? On the tendering, the tree mode, okay? So you better go and listen back, because otherwise I'm repeating everything again. I am worried that my reputation is inaccurate later. Okay, because I'm also trying to recall like what I put in the paper as well. So go back to the first 30 minutes, okay? And the last 30 minutes, okay? You clear? Who is this? I cannot see your name.
Yeah, clear, Doctor.
74958. Siapa tu? Are you our ex-students?
Yes, this is my degree account.
No wonder. We are from which department?
Me, Amelia, Doctor.
Amelia.
Yeah.
From civil ga?
Sabar.
Which department are you from?
Oh, I'm in this class actually.
I know. Like previously, are you a civil
Department
student?
electrical lecturer.
No wonder. Okay. Can. Yeah, so you probably will have to take a bit more effort lah, because our classes sometimes is more, I don't know, I think it's a little bit more on the lecturer teaching are mainly from civil and mechanical, I think. So less from EE. So maybe you're not so used to our way of teaching like in that sense, huh? So maybe you have to really look back. So okay, let me show you guys the ELIP lah, huh? I mean, in case you all are a bit blur about what I do in ELIP. You hold on, just a quick one. Hey,
Doctor, I have a question.
yes, go ahead.
Speaking of the ellipse, actually, we don't really understand about the bonus activity one. Is it the question is please kindly attach your project environment scan. Is it that
Yeah.
we have to scan the topic that we want to choose for this project?
No. Wait, one thing at a time, you hold,
Okay, sure.
Mentioning, okay, like this, okay, now
Alright.
you can see my elite, right? Okay, so when you see like this, you see this link like this, and I say full class recording, it means that I put in all the class recording. I mean, as in the full class recording. So if you click on it, okay,
Dr. Ting, one moment. I'm not sure whether you're sharing your screen or not.
I am. You cannot see, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah, we cannot see you.
I. Macam ini. Let me see, share, okay. Click share. Can see or not? Wait,
Sorry, doctor, no.
okay. Click share. Click the window maybe. Window. This is so annoying. But this is window, then if I go to the next window, you cannot see also. There's a problem. I think I better keep entire screen. Okay. But it's connecting, but it's not really connecting. Oh, no. Motion and video. What I'm talking, what am I doing? Text, image. Okay. Entire screen. I don't know why it's not sharing. It's like rolling, connecting, but eesh. Okay. Let's see. Let me try again. I think can now. Let me try. Bunny, oi. Okay, let's go for window. See if it works. Here's my email. Like this, you can you see anything? Am I in elite?
Still not showing.
Not showing, huh?
Yeah. What laptop is it, doctor? Who knows
No, because
anyone here can explain?
okay. I think let's not waste time. I will just undo this and then okay, let's look at the okay. I'm not sharing my screen now. Okay, so if you go to your elite as long as you see like okay, like you see my thing are actually based on LU1, LU2 and LU3 kan, So LU1 and LU2, under LU2, I always put like the LUs with the code of full class recording. So if you click on the full class recording, anything with full class recording, there is a link. It's in the link kind of format. So you click on that, it will bring you to YouTube. Okay.
Dr. Lee one, I don't know. Mine is definitely like this. So for LU 7 and 8, there is no class recording because it is a full. It is a physical class. So LU 7, 8, 9, no full class recording. LU 1, 2, 3, there is full class recording. So as long as you click on the full class recording, you will go back. The whole class, what we talk about, entire class is actually recorded. So you can go back and scroll through the minutes, and see which one you want to listen to. So later on at LU 10, okay, I will put in LU 10, full class recording. So Amelia, just now you're asking me for the tips of the exam to repeat to you again. I don't think I need to repeat again. You just have to go back to the full class recording and scroll to the first 30 minutes. Scroll through the first 30 minutes, then you will find my tips there. Okay?
Okay, Doctor.
Understand or not? Okay, so I remember I talked about the class exam tips in the first 30 minutes. I think it's first 15 to 35 minutes around that time. Then at the end of the class, which is around 2:25 or 2:25 like that, I also talk about 5 minutes on the exam tips. So you need to look at those time frame to look for the exam tips. If you still have problems and you still have issues, like I said, Dr. Lee will give you another round of exam tips based on overall everything, the entire paper again in the last class. Okay, just that I do it today because I'm very specific with the answer that I'm looking for. When Dr. Lee brief you, she's going to brief you what to study only. But today, when I say question 1 and question 4 and question 3, question 1 is on scope. Question 4 is on procurement. Question 3 is sharing between me and Dr. Lee. You need to do costing, detailed estimates. That one, I have very specific ways of I want you to answer the question. Okay, so I have gone through that today in the class. So please check back to the full LU 10 full class recording when you have time. Okay? And then on the various classes, I also have 10 minutes recording. So it's going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4. Those is lecture. Okay? Like for example, LU9, I've got overview of procurement management, procurement strategies recording 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one are all pre-recorded lecture. There's no exam tips inside there. They are just pre-recorded lecture only. So anything with a link, you need to click and listen to it. They are all linked to YouTube so that you don't have to use a lot of your memory. Okay. And the bonus activity, when you click onto it, okay, everybody needs to add a discussion. Okay, you need to click add discussion. Like for example, Hafifi, you already add the discussion here. Okay, and you are not submitting the right thing to me. Okay, let me check. Okay, you are not submitting the right thing. What I'm looking for in this project, in this bonus activity, is for you to attach your project environment scan. You simply just attach any document inside here. I could talk you. Okay, so you understand or not? Guys, whoever asked that question, you know what is project environment scan or not? I remember talking to you guys about this at least 3 times already. The square thing with the circle in the center, and the second center, the localized things, factors,
project factors, localized factors, you know, you look at your LU1 punya notes, there is a project environment scan. I need you to draw your project environment scan. Your punya project, I only need to see the project environment scan only. Okay? You need to draw yourself. Either you draw with your own hands or you want to draw with your Microsoft also can. And that one page, the project environment scan, you just need to add discussion and attach it into it. Understand or not?
Yeah, doctor. Thank you, doctor.
So Habibi, go and take down that one.
Okay. I will resubmit again.
Yeah. And then it's one person submit. That one is not assignment. That one is bonus activity. That one is if you do, I give you extra marks.
I will do today, doctor.
It's very easy one. You just have to look at your notes. Ayo, I cannot share my screen. It's so annoying. Let me try again. It's keep on saying connecting, you know, that's rolling and rolling, and that's there. Like this, can you see my screen?
No,
No.
still blank. Yeah.
Still blank. Something to do with the line, I believe. Oh. Okay, never mind. So if you go to chapter, let me see, which chapter? Okay. I think I posted in Elite. Okay, never mind. I will post it right now in the group. Okay, you guys go and take a look there. WhatsApp. Project environment scan. Okay, go to your WhatsApp now. I need you to submit this one page only. Can you guys open it and have a look? I mean, if you don't want your extra mark, it's fine. You don't have to submit. But if you want your extra mark, it's a lot, you know, because this is 1 mark out of the whole entire, 100%. That is, I'm giving you 101%. If you get 59 or 58, this 1 mark is going to save you, okay?
Thank you very much, doctor. We really appreciate it.
So go and do it. I got draw lah, You don't have to be perfect lah, But then just do it so that you can do it for exams later. Definitely in exam, you need to do this project environment scan for question number 1. And even question number 4, I think you need to do something like that also. So if you don't do it, then you're going to be not getting the marks, okay? Anyone still needs the QR code? If not, then we call it a day, You all see, go to the student group, I posted the project environment scan already there, All right, If no, then we call it a day lah, Bye.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, doctor.
Okay, thank you, doctor.
Anyone else have
Bye,
any
doc.
questions? You can stay back, I'm okay. Just that the rest, I think,
Bye,
want to go home
doctor.
already, so I don't want to catch up people. Anyone else have problems? Like just now, the two ladies? Whoever asked the project environment scan one, are you okay? The project activity one? Quiet again. Okay, bye.
Bye, doctor.
Bye-bye. See you.